Hey guys, summer's finally here, so I finally have time to make more videos because school has been kicking me in the butt recently. I haven't seen as many movies as I'd like to, as you all know. I still need to catch up on a lot of stuff like Warcraft and Ninja Turtles and Alice and Angry Birds and a lot of other stuff that I wanted to see, but I couldn't. But lately, if you've watched my latest videos, I've been talking about how I really want to make more videos because I haven't been making a lot, and I really wanted to do a Steven Spielberg series because Steven Spielberg, as you all know, changed my life. This guy was so inspirational to me. He still is to this day. The guy has been making movies for I think 4 decades, which is nuts. About 45 years Steven Spielberg has been making movies, and he's changed cinema, and he's really important to me. And the BFG is a movie I'm really excited for. It's his 30th movie ever, which is nuts. And I'm really excited for BFG, so I really wanted to do a Steven Spielberg series, which is also another excuse for me to make more videos. So, I'm starting this series. This is the first video in a series of Spielberg movies. I'm not going to do all the Spielberg movies because that would take forever and I wouldn't have enough time. But I'm going to do probably, I don't know how many, but be sure to suggest more Steven Spielberg movies down in the comments for me to do before BFG releases. And I'll be sure to say, yeah, I'll try doing that one. Yeah, okay. Because I need to select certain Spielberg movies and leave some out. But the first review in this series is for a movie called Duel, which is his first movie of all time. This is Spielberg's first movie. It came out in 1971. It starred Dennis Weaver, and it was a very simple plot. It was basically just Dennis Weaver is he's on some sort of business trip, and this giant truck he keeps seeing is following him around, and whoever is in the giant truck is literally trying to kill him. He's causing road rage, and Dennis Weaver keeps seeing him everywhere he goes on this trip. It's really just a simple plot and a battle of wits between whoever is in the truck and between Dennis Weaver. And this movie was originally just meant for TV, and apparently it got released in some theaters from what I've heard. And I'm not going to do spoilers for this Spielberg review because I think this movie is only available on YouTube and not a lot of people have seen it. So I'm not going to do spoilers for this video, but a lot of my other Spielberg videos will probably be filled with spoilers because a lot of people will have seen them. So for Duel, I was watching a lot of Spielberg movies that last year, during the time when Bridge of Spies was released, because I'm a huge Spielberg fan and I was really watching a lot of his movies because I like to watch as many Spielberg movies as possible. And last year I found Duel on YouTube because I couldn't find it anywhere else, and that's when I watched it. I think it was around October last year was when I first watched it. I remember when I first saw this movie, I was blown away by how good it was. I mean, this movie literally came out in 1971, and it's really impressive the stuff they were able to pull off in this movie. The amount of suspense that Spielberg was able to incorporate into this movie, which is just a simple story about road rage, was really good. I mean, I love how when Dennis Weaver is just driving his car and the big truck is behind him trying to bump into him and cause him to die, Spielberg was able to use so many different ways of doing suspense. The truck literally looks like a face. So it's the truck is literally a character of its own, and oftentimes we'll see the man's hand that drives the truck, but we never see his face throughout the entire movie. We never see it, which I think really adds to the suspense. And Dennis Weaver's performance is able to pull off really good suspense because this guy, you can tell he's just a guy who wants to just do this business trip, and he starts getting really frustrated, and then he's really stressed and worried because this guy is trying to murder him.
What happened? That truck driver tried to kill me.
Dennis Weaver's performance is really good, especially in that scene where he's inside the cafe and he thinks that the dude in the truck is in the cafe with him. He's looking around, he can see their boots, he can see their faces, and you can tell by Dennis Weaver's performance that he's going through a lot of anxiety, and he pulls that off so well. This guy obviously has really bad anxiety issues with this whole thing that he's going through. And the scenes where he's driving around and the truck is following are really well handled. You would think that those scenes might be boring because it's just a dude driving around in a car and this giant truck is just trolling him. You'd think that might be boring, but it's actually really, really well handled, and I was really impressed with how they handled it. There's also some really scary stuff in this movie, like the scene where he's inside of the phone booth, and like the giant truck tries to knock him over while he's in the phone booth. It's really scary. You can tell that this guy, whoever is in the truck, which we don't see, is just insane. I really like how this movie starts out really slow. It's literally just like, he's just a guy driving around in a car, and there's like a radio playing. It's really normal and casual, and he's just driving around, and then he starts seeing this truck, and then he's just like, okay, whatever, it's just a truck, and then the truck starts doing some really weird things, like being rude, and then eventually the truck goes even more berserk and tries to murder him, and then he gets even more berserk as the movie goes on. Like, I love how, just in this movie, the truck driver gets progressively more insane, it feels like. Like, at first he's not trying so hard to kill him, it seems like he's sort of playing with him, and then as the movie goes on, it literally just goes to the giant truck driver trying to bump him gently on the back of his car, like we saw earlier in the movie, to him literally trying to run over him with his truck. It's really insane stuff. Like, I do remember when I first saw this movie, I was like so at the edge of my seat because I was just like, oh geez, what is he gonna do? What's gonna happen next? Oh my, this guy's insane. I'm in so much suspense right now. It usually gives me goosebumps all over my body because Spielberg was able to accomplish so much with this movie. It's a simple plot, but the movie is able to be so suspenseful because you really like Dennis Weaver's character. Dennis Weaver just has a really likability about him. Even though I don't really know the actor of Dennis Weaver that well. I've just seen him in this one movie because he's sort of an actor of the past. His character is really likable and you really want to see him get out of this, and just everything they were able to do with this movie in 1971 with all the scenes on the road is just really, really impressive. Spielberg already showed that he was a master of direction, and this movie is not just a fun little thing that you can watch when you feel like it. It's actually a legitimately great movie. And I was so impressed the first time I saw this with what they were able to accomplish with Duel. My one gripe with Duel is that it seems like this would be a nitpick, but it's not really because it's a very simple movie. But they like have this characteristic of Dennis Weaver where he's having trouble with his family and he's struggling with his family, and there's a scene where he talks to his wife on the phone, and that really shows that him and his wife are sort of fighting and they're not getting along very well, and he just wants to apologize for something that he did, and they never get into what he did, and that whole subplot never comes up again. It's just that one scene. Like, it seems like they could have cut out that scene completely, because it added a whole nother aspect to Dennis Weaver's character that was just kind of unnecessary, and it never came up again. But other than that, Duel is a fantastic movie. This movie is so impressive with what they're able to accomplish with it. It's such a great movie. It's really suspenseful, and Steven Spielberg is the man. I love him. So guys, I'm gonna give Duel an A. It's a legitimately great movie. Be sure to check this movie out if you want to. It's on YouTube, that's how I watched it. And yeah, Duel is really great. It's probably in my, I'd say, not in my top 5 Spielberg movies, but probably in my top 10 maybe? I don't know. But yeah, Duel's definitely up there for Spielberg. So guys, my next review for Spielberg is probably gonna be Jaws. Jaws is really a movie that scared me a lot as a kid, and I really want to review Jaws because it's so good, and that's definitely going to be my next review. And I'm really excited to do this series because I think it's a lot of fun and I admire a lot of Spielberg movies, so yeah. So if you like this video, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to comment, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you like this, be sure to check out my other Spielberg videos because I probably have a lot coming. Thank you. See ya.